Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Europa League preview. Joining me is my good friend James Young. Young, how are we doing?
Good, yeah.
Yeah? You can get a bit closer to the mic. Don't be shy.
We've just been pulling out, so I've just moved the chair away as far as possible.
Manchester United are playing their only game in about 4 weeks when we go to Sheriff. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Sheriff, yeah.
Sheriff. Whereabouts is Sheriff from?
The Transdniester Republic of the Left Bank, I think.
I'll take your word for it. Yes, Manchester United, obviously coming off the back of a defeat to Real Sociedad at Old Trafford, so we do need a win. First of all, I'm going to go into the team. I know we're going to get to predicted 11s in a minute. Make sure you get involved in the comments and the chat as well. Does Erik ten Hag go all out for this one? Do you think we need to play a strong team because of the fact we've lost the opening game, or do you think he's looking at Europa and going, it's not the end of the world if I either don't play a strong team or I've got the players to mix it up a bit?
But they shouldn't really have to play a strong team to beat Sheriff of Moldova in the first place. But then at the same time, they didn't play a strong team against Real Sociedad. And you'd think, they've sort of got enough of them. Actually, they did. They played a strong team against Real Sociedad. And what I'm trying to say is, that should have been enough to have got a result against Sociedad. And now United have got the issue whereby this is a game where if they'd have got that result against Sociedad, they could rest players and go, right, we've already got 3 points now. We can sort of move a few players around, drop a few players, and still, even if we draw the game, it's okay. But I think the pressure's on now.
Yeah, I understand what you mean when you say the pressure's on. Obviously not the pressure on the manager, but the pressure on to try and get a result out of this game. Would you say, and I hate using this term, but I'm going to use it anyway, do you feel this is a must-win game after what's gone on so far?
I don't like that. You know I don't. You know my opinions on that term.
Because it's like you say must-win and we don't win. Yeah. You go, what was that it then? Is it over? No, we can still go through. Just in terms of, the opening game in the Europa League. And also the fact that this is our only game until the 2nd of October now because of the games being postponed in the Premier League.
I think that puts more weight on it almost, because if United were playing next Sunday, people would almost forget about it. But if we have another Midtjylland or whoever it is that United have lost to before in Europe, like Cluj and random teams like that, because there's that longer gap, there's going to be more sort of criticisms of Ten Hag and United and, they've gone backwards again after beating Liverpool and all of that stuff. It's not going to help anyone. So I think if they can just, get like a solid 2-0, everyone will forget about it and they'll just move on. But, United have played random teams. Random teams is a bit insulting, but do you know what I'm trying to say is before in the Europa League, United have played teams that they wouldn't normally play in sort of European competitions. Your Zoira Luhansk is a good example, Rostov, these sort of teams.
It's a last-minute win. It took a last-minute win.
Exactly. It's harder than you think a lot of these places because it's their cup final as well. They're going to be up for it. And they beat Real Madrid last season, so they're obviously one of those tricky sides.
Yeah, and I know Sociedad are a lot better than Sheriff, but no one expected Sociedad, especially after the results we'd been having in the Premier League, to come to Old Trafford and get a result against, as you mentioned, a pretty strong United team. Let's not kid ourselves. We had the likes, of what was essentially our centre-back pairing from last 2 seasons playing. You had Casemiro playing. You had Ronaldo, of course. So it was a strong team that lost to Sociedad. Hopefully, though, United can turn it around for this one. With all that being said, talk us through your predicted 11. Who have you gone for?
Gone for De Gea in goal, just because, obviously, I don't really see who else really would come in. Dalot at fullback, I think. Yeah. Again, that's a pretty obvious decision. I think Maguire, especially in these games, it's a good way for him to get his confidence back, especially against playing sort of in the Europa League. I don't want to say less pressure on him, but against the sort of lesser opposition, hopefully he can build up a bit more confidence. And Martinez as well, I think, is, again, another one of those players where you think, because he's playing so well, you almost want him to just continue that form. Yep. And Melassi is the same. I think he's just got slotted in really well this season, and I think he needs to start as well. At midfield as well, I've gone for Fernandes, Casemiro, and Eriksen. I think, especially, I've been surprised at how good Eriksen's been this season.
I completely agree.
Massively, because you didn't.
I thought he was good. I didn't think he was great, and he's been great.
But I think he's been one of United's. I think probably United's best signing so far in terms of immediate impact.
Even better than Lisandro Martinez.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, big statement there from James Young. I mean, it is a debate worth having
in terms of value for money.
Yeah, I mean, value for money is, you can't get better value than costing nought. I hear you. I'd probably go with Martinez as my signing so far, but there's paper-thin margins because they've both been fantastic. And I get where you're coming from, where you say about Eriksen being a surprise, because he was good at Brentford, did okay at Inter Milan. Obviously, towards the end at Spurs, it didn't work out, although he did have a very good sort of few years at Spurs. but he's been phenomenal.
I remember when United played Ajax in the Europa League in 2012, and he was great then as well. And he's one of those players where if United had got him earlier, like probably 5 or 6 years earlier, like they probably should have done.
I don't know though. I know what you mean, because we certainly could have used him during that spell, but I think now he's the type of player, the way he is, that we need. And with everything that comes with that experience he's got, the confidence he's got, the ability, the vision, and I think we've just been missing that. And he seems to have taken a little bit of the pressure off Bruno Fernandes to be the guy that's got to pick that pass out all the time. I really like what Eriksen's done for the team, and what surprised me, probably most of the time as well, is the energy he's got.
Yeah,
I know he has tired in certain games towards the end, but he's been putting in some reach shifts, hasn't he? And you know, especially when you look at what happened in the Euros, there's always a concern: is will he have the fitness of the modern players in the Premier League? And he's certainly got that in abundance. Sorry, go on and tell us about your attacking lineup.
And then I've gone Sancho, Ronaldo, Anthony. I think it's interesting that when Ronaldo came back to United, I don't think he was expecting to go to Moldova away to start in the Europa League. But
he's lucky.
Exactly.
It's every boy's dream. Never mind your Ballon d'Ors and your Champions Leagues and all that other nonsense. Everyone dreams of going to Moldova in the Europa League. At the time of recording this, we don't know the travelling squad. So you may well be shouting at your screen now going, what are you on about? Ronaldo's not even travelled, but we don't know that, okay? So bear with us. Strong team there you've gone with, James. I like the fact you've mixed it up a little bit. I mean, you can look at it and go, most of them, other than maybe Maguire and even Ronaldo, our first choice. Even Casemiro's
I think that says something about United's squad depth as well in certain areas. Yeah. Because I don't know who you bring in certain places on that pitch.
That's a good point then. Yeah. Let's see who I've brought in. This
funny.
Is my predicted.
It's as if we both worked in radio before or something.
Yes, it is. Nice little segue there. So my team, again, this is a predicted team. You know, not who I prefer to see, but who I think we will see. My back five is a bit different. So I've gone with David De Gea, Tyrone Malacia, Lisandro Martinez. I've gone with Varane instead of Maguire and Diogo Dalot. I just think that with the gap between games, I think he's going to play his strongest team, and I think if Varane's fit, he'll be in that strongest team. Again, though, you know, it's not the end of the world if Maguire does play, and he may well look at it and go, Maguire, you know, could do with a bit more game time. And also, there's nothing wrong with resting Rafael Varane, especially with the injuries he's had, but I'm just going to go with Varane. In midfield, I've gone with Casemiro, Eriksen, and I put Fred in. I think Fred could do some minutes. Obviously knows Casemiro from the Brazil squad. And I just wonder whether Bruno might get a bit of a breather, because I don't think you lose a lot. I think Bruno's a better player than Fred, but I still think that's a relatively strong midfield. And I think you've got Fred who can do a bit of box-to-box stuff. You've got Eriksen who can create stuff. And you've got Casemiro who can act like a bit of a shield as well. So I think there's a good balance there. Up front, I've gone with Jadon Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo and Anthony Elanga, and I'll explain why. I don't know. There was rumours that maybe Rashford's not fully fit. So I don't know.
It was an interesting source on Twitter that was.
Well, it's not just that. I think there's saying that we've not been spotted at training or whatever. I just wonder whether as well, even that aside,
he's gone to the Arndale for the day.
Yeah, whether he might just use this as an opportunity to give Rashford a proper breather. Anthony Elanga as well. There's always a thing with him as, you know, is he at the levels you need? Is he this, that, and the other? He has been getting minutes under Eric Ten Hag, and I think this could be a good game for him to get some more minutes and hopefully get amongst the goals.
You fancy him in games like this as well.
Yeah.
Like, even last season in the Champions League, he obviously scored against Atletico, but he's got that sort of thing in him whereby if he gets the ball in sort of the right areas of the pitch and the right opportunities, he can be quite clinical at times. But I've seen it before, especially towards the end of last season and as well a bit this season. He just seems to snatch away at his chances now.
I think it's getting into his head. I think you're right. I've gone with Jadon Sancho and Ronaldo. Ronaldo, I think, again, he could probably do with another start. We haven't got loads of options as well. I don't know what the script is with Martial. Jadon Sancho's had a decent start to the season. He seems to fall off a cliff at about the 60-minute mark. He keeps getting subbed, doesn't he?
Would you not be tempted to put like a McNeil or like a Garnacho or someone like that?
I mean, I love Charlie McNeil and I love Garnacho as well. Possibly. I think if we won the first game, maybe I'd be a bit more tempted to go. Or Ten Hag would be a bit more tempted to go, do you know what, let's give one of the kids a start.
He came on against Sociedad and I thought he was really good for the last 5 minutes he was on. He was trying to create stuff, wasn't McNeil?
I felt a bit sorry for him as well because it's almost like that debut where you've not really got enough time to do anything. Do you know what I mean? He had like you say, he had some good touches and he did well, but it wasn't like he was given 40 minutes or half an hour even to really sort of have a big impact. But it was a very good sort of solid debut for him.
Diallo, when he was under Solskjaer. I remember he came on and scored against Milan. So you can. I mean,
not 5 minutes though. It's very rare to come on against Sociedad in a game like that when we're 1-0 down and go. Right, you've got 5 minutes for your debut to do something to win this game or to turn it around.
What I was saying was more in a sort of wider sense around young players being given an opportunity to showcase themselves. Obviously longer than 5 minutes, but Rashford's the main example as well against Midtjylland.
Started the game, gets a brace, does really well. I mean, again, I think there with Rashford, it was Martial got injured in the warm-up and Keane got injured, didn't he, week before, so it gives him an opportunity. Maybe something like that might happen to take that with McNeil because we haven't got that many options. I think if Ronaldo gets an injury, then maybe McNeil does get a bit more of a chance. I just feel for this game, with everything that's gone on, he might have to wait a little bit longer, but it was great to see him get a debut.
The thing with squad rotation almost isn't too much of an issue because United don't have a game for another couple of weeks, so he can play as strong as team.
Yeah, he can. I mean, both of us have picked a pretty strong team there. I think you've gone with sort of 2 or 3 that don't usually start. And I say usually, I mean, in the context of the season so far. And I've been pretty similar as well. The only sort of ones of Elanga and Fred and Rashford. Ronaldo coming in for me. It sounds crazy that I'm going to say Ronaldo.
It's crazy the conversations I've been having the past couple of weeks with people that are going and stuff. And sort of, United sort of hardcore sort of European following that go to absolutely away game. They're enjoying the fact that this is in Moldova because they're almost taking this is like a challenge to get there. Even though it's on like the UK government's red list, do not travel to Moldova. It borders Russia and Ukraine. Oh no, we need to get there.
Be all right. Be all right. Mate, don't worry about Russia and Ukraine. I'm from Salford. I'll be fine. They'll be worried about me.
It's the same with Cyprus as well. I've had conversations with people like, how are you getting to the ammonia game? I'm like, oh, I'm going via Jordan for 2 days and then I'm getting like the bus over.
The ferry.
It's like, all right.
It's always a good challenge, isn't it, on a bit of a different European way. What do you know about Sheriff? Are they any good?
I'm not an expert on Moldovan football, sadly.
Do you know what? That surprises me because you're usually an expert on most obscure football leagues.
Sheriff are, basically, they have a lot of control in that sort of breakaway state where they're based. So they own like the phone lines, like shops, petrol stations, that sort of thing. They're just like a massive multi-conglomerate. And they also own the football team as well. So it's just like a massive company.
So they own the lot. So it's a bit like Red Bull.
Sort of, but it's not like Red Bull also don't have links to the government there, do they, as well? Like it's proper. It's a bit shady.
It's like Real Madrid in the 50s.
Well, sort of. I mean, we're not going there. It'd be a bit like if.
I don't know. You tell me.
It'd be a bit like if Texaco were like massive in the UK and owned like absolutely everything, and also had a football team.
Right. Okay. So it's like the Texaco. How did they get on in the first game? Do we know? I'm sure producer Callum is about to enlighten me with this information. How they got on in their first European.
I mean, we know they beat Real Madrid last season.
Sorry. Against who's in that?
Say it in your Salford accent.
Ammonia Nicosia.
No,
ammonia. How do you say it?
Ammonia.
No, right. Stop that. Yeah. So they won. What was it? 3-0. 3-0 in the first game. So they're on a good bit of form, if you can call it that. Can't take them too lightly. Like you said, they beat Real Madrid, didn't they?
Well, they'll have a couple of like good foreign players on good wages to play there as well, because they've obviously got a bit of cash, and the stadium's really impressive as well. And they've obviously got a very ambitious project there, similar to
a very ambitious project.
You've seen it in a lot of Eastern Europe clubs like Shakhtar, which is obviously a bigger footballing country like Ukraine, but there's a lot of clubs like Bate in Belarus as well that have got very rich owners that just try and get in the Europa League every season and just keep on getting the money from it and just doing the same thing basically all the time. So,
fair enough. The footballing world is enriched by diversity. So who are we to argue? Right. With all that being said, give us your score predictions.
I think United will win 2-0, but I don't think it'll be as straightforward as it should be. We'll be like 0-0 at half time. And then United will get one
Charlie McNeil coming on.
Yeah, 65 minutes, own goal, and then like another one with like 3 minutes to go.
Say that. Take any win. I kind of agree. I think this might be a bit closer than we think. I'll go with 1-0, and I think Ronnie will get a goal. He's due one, isn't he? He's, by his standards, it's been a absolute,
Reminds me of
drought.
Who was it that United played when? It was Astana, wasn't it, from Kazakhstan when Rojo did that Rabona and failed it. Do you remember that?
The only thing Astana was Astana away where it was freezing and We played all the children and Lee Grant and Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it.
But the home game, Rojo tried to do that Rabona.
Did you see him get sent off the other day?
No, I didn't see it.
Rojo got sent off for playing in the Argentinian league for like a high foot, and it was a high foot. He nearly took someone's head off. And it just reminded me of the fact he never got sent off for United, which is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It really is.
Like Bailly as well was a similar player like that. You know, he'd just be like, "What are you doing? Why? There's no need."
Bailly and Rojo. Right, James, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at James Young TV, and also in the pages of United We Stand.
United We Stand, yeah.
Also find me outside Old Trafford selling it if you want to abuse me in the street.
Well, or you want to buy a fanzine instead. You don't have to abuse. How much is the fanzine nowadays?
£3.
£3 a bargain.
Especially as well because print's gone up again.
Yeah.
So
seriously, you should support the fanzine. It's good to see yourselves and
if you want to buy this T-shirt as well, you can on their Private White. We've done a collaboration with them, so you can buy that.
Anything else? You done? Yeah?
Finished, yeah.
We all good? Right, okay. If you want to go and check out United We Stand, we'll put a link in the description. Make sure as well you are checking out our merchandise at paddockmerch.com. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's been James. I've been Jay. This has been the preview for the Europa League game at Sheriff. Thanks for watching.